Hey guys, today we are evaluating exponential expressions. And what that looks like is this. If I have 5 to the x power, they want us to evaluate that for the values of x equals 2 and x equals 3. So first I will plug in x equals -2 for the x. So I'll have 5 to the negative second power. Well, if you'll remember, a negative exponent tells us to create a fraction. So that the 5 goes on the bottom of a fraction with a 1 on top. And it's actually 5 squared. All right. So we know that 5 squared is 5 times 5, and that's 25. So when x is -2, our expression equals 1 over 25. So now let's do the same thing when x is 3. So that means 5 to the third power, and that's 5 times 5 times 5. Well, we know 5 times 5, that's 25, times 5 is 125. So when x is 3, the value of this expression is 125. So let's say I have the expression 3 times 8 to the x power, and we need to evaluate that for x equals -2 and x equals 3. So first I will plug in for x, I will plug in -2. So that gives me 3 times 8 to the negative second power. And remember, we always have to do exponents before multiplication, right? So I do this part first, and I'll remember that the negative exponent here is going to make this a fraction. So this becomes 1 over 8 to the second power. So this is 3 times 1 over 64. All right, so when I multiply an integer by a fraction, remember, I multiply the 3 times the top of the fraction. So that's 3 times 1, and this will be 3 over 64. So the value of that expression when x is equal to -2 is 3 over 64. Now let's do the same thing when x is equal to 3. So we have 3 times 8 to the third power. Well, remember, 8 to the third power is 8 times 8 times 8. So this becomes 3 times 8 times 8 times 8. And this would be a wonderful time to use a calculator. So 8 times 8 times 8, that's 512. And now don't forget to bring down that 3. So this is 3 times 512. So the answer is 1,536. Let's say we have 3 to the x power plus 2. And I need to evaluate that for x equals -2 and for x equals 3. So first I'll plug in -2, plug it in right there. So this is 3 to the negative second power plus 2. Remember that the negative exponent says that this needs to become 1 over 3 squared plus 2. Well, that's 3 squared is 9, so that's 1 over 9 plus 2. Well, that's just 2 and 1/9. Another way to think of this is we could turn this 2 into 18/9. So that's 1 over 9 plus 18/9. So this could also be considered 19/9. Now I need to plug in x is equal to 3 into my expression here. So we'll do 3 to the third power plus 2. Well, 3 to the third power is 3 times 3 times 3 plus 2. Well, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So this will be 27 plus 2, which is 29. So our two answers when we plug in -2 and 3 are 19 over 9 and 29. What if I have 10 to the x plus 5. Well, if I plug in x being negative 2, that'll give me 10 to the negative 2 plus 5. Well, that's 10 to the third power. Remember, when we raise 10 to an exponent, that just basically means there's going to be a 1 with that many zeros. 1, 2, 3. So our answer is 1,000, because that's 10 times 10 times 10. Now, let's plug in x equals 3. So that'll give us 10 to the 3 plus 5. Well, that's 10 to the 8th power. Remember that when you raise 10 to an exponent, that's always a 1 with this many zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the answer is 100 million. So when x is negative 2, our expression is 1,000. And when x is 3, the value of our expression is 100 million. And that's how you evaluate exponential expressions.